Hello, this is Thomas O. Mills, and I'd like to talk to you today about the connection between Viracocha, the gateway to the fourth world, Sacsayhuaman, and the pyramid complex in Egypt. The gateway to the fourth world, that stone doorway I just showed you, also called the Sun Gate, was discovered in the mid-19th century, broken into and lying on its side. It was then moved to its present location, and all its alignments with the sun, the moon, solstices were lost. It was made out of one stone that weighed 10 tons and was located at 12,549 feet above sea level. A good guess of where it may have been located in the past would be along this red line to show the equinox, or along this green line to show the winter solstice. The gateway is also associated with this four-step pyramid that is outlined, carved in stone into the desert landscape adjacent to it. So this whole entire site resembles the navel of the earth, the place of emergence from the third world to the fourth, the way the Hopis think. The square outline on top would represent the male power, and this square over here to the side with a little box on top would represent the female power, according to the Book of the Hopi on page 93. So on top of this stone, there's Viracocha standing on top, and he's holding these two things on his hands. And the Native Americans believe he created the sun, the earth, and the moon. And he's carved on top of this doorway holding a serpent parent in each hand upside down. There are 3 rows of 8 winged figures on each side of Viracocha. This represents to me that Viracocha has tried 3 times to create life on this planet, and he's standing on the fourth world to come. That's this fourth bottom row here. If you look at that bottom row real close, you see that he's standing here in the middle, and there's 4 of his images on one side and 4 more on the other, and they each represented by a coiled snake. This to me would represent the ecliptic path and the celestial path. And if you see right on the end here, you see that there's a serpent parrot on each one. So it'd be a 2-headed serpent, just like there in Aztec. So murals, statues, paintings, and hieroglyphs have shown people holding snakes in their hands for many, many centuries. Here it was found in Iraq, the Sumerians. You can see he had 2 snakes and 2 rattles. This is worn out because it's so old. But that's one place where it was represented. In Egypt, you had murals and carved in solid stone. It's got a bull and a lion and 2 serpents, and he's holding them in each side. There's a hawk figure on this side, and looks like the same thing that Viracocha is holding in his hand, in his left hand. Here there's 2 serpents. This is in front of the Sphinx temple, and at Crete, the lady had 2 serpents in her hand and on her hair. In Utah, the pictographs show images of guardians with snakes in their hands, 2 on each side and 1 above. And then at Serpent Mound, here you have the world's largest effigy of a serpent, and it shows the summer solstice, the winter solstice, and the equinox, all lined up north, south, east, and west. And if you would line your compass up there, you would find that it would form the key to life symbol. If your pathway of the sun would go from the winter solstice to the summer solstice and back, would equal 1 year of time. And the Serpent Mound not only represents the winter solstice, summer solstice, and the equinox, but it also represents the moon cycles. It's this 18.6 yearly cycle with its risings and setting points along the horizon. The moon is the tool that keeps Earth's 2 paths in balance, the ecliptic and the celestial. climate, seasons, ice caps, weather patterns, storms, jet streams, temperatures, tides, and sea levels are all affected by the moon's orbit. The water that is flooding cities all around the world and causing sea levels to rise at the present time all came from our melting polar ice caps. Scientists predict that by the year 2100, both of our polar ice caps will be melted. This is also the year that we will enter the new age of Aquarius. So serpents were also used at Chaco Canyon, 2 serpents carved on a sandstone rock behind 3 elevated sandstone slabs, and they also did the same thing. When the sun shone down from the top, it was used to measure the winter solstice, the summer solstice, and the equinox. And the winter solstice, 2 daggers of light would come down just perfectly and on the line of each side of this serpent. The summer solstice, it would come right down the middle, and then on the equinox, 2 daggers would come down through both. But it also represented the moon. And the moon's light shone in from the bottom. So we had the sun coming in from the top, and the moon's light coming in from the bottom. And the moon, the light from the moon eliminated these snakes, the maximum extreme moon, the minimum extreme moon, and then the equinox. So it not only measured the sun, but also the moon. The moon was used to control our tilt, and I think that they used this to measure the sun when it was in perfect alignment. So it was a tool there to use to measure Earth's perfect balance in space. I don't think it had anything to do with when to plant your crops and when to harvest. You wouldn't go to all this work, you can tell. The Hopis use when the ants and the lizards come up, they both come up at the same time, that's when they know it's time to plant. So they don't need, they wouldn't go to all this work. So in Mexico, this Aztec or Mayan sunstone, they call it, it also has 2 serpents. And here you have Viracocha, the one we have over the doorway. He has 2 parrot claws in each one in each hand. And you can see it has a pointer here and the 4 whorls. And he's rotating inside here. There's little wheels where he can, this middle section would rotate. And then you have your 12 constellations on the back of these 2 serpents. And the serpents' heads are at the bottom, and they have a head in each mouth, which would represent the first world, second world. He's in the third world. He's just like a gyroscope in here, rotating back and forth, looking for the right constellation on our Earth's balance. And you see these rattlesnakes have 4 buttons on them, each one, which to me says that they've shed their skin 4 times or rebirth 4 times. That this was the third world going into the fourth. So at Hathor, the temple in Dendra, you also show this. People think this is an electric light bulb or something, but it's actually a snake, and it's inside of a lotus. That's the one balanced path, and they're bringing another serpent, the celestial and the 2 paths. They're bringing them together. This one didn't have any wobbles, a straight path, and they've got this one hooked up to the lotus flower. Here's the guy measuring the distance to the moon, and he's measuring it by the foot, and you can see it's connected. And the lotus flower, they use it to represent creation and rebirth, as it's a symbol of the sun. As the night, it closes and goes beneath the water, and at dawn, it climbs back up above the water and reopens. So it was a symbol of rebirth. So let's look at this figure of Viracocha on top of that doorway. What's it really represent? This is an exact replica from a company down in Peru that does this ancestral structures, and it's an exact copy of one of his murals. You can see he's holding 2 serpent parents, or 2 snakes, one in each hand. He only has 4 fingers, so he can count to 4. This is the fourth world. And he's standing on a 3-step pyramid. 1, 2, 3. So he's standing in the third world, and he's holding these serpent parrots in the fourth slot with 4 fingers. Inside the 3-step pyramid, you've got 10 small serpent parrots. This one would represent the balance. This would tell me that there's probably pathways underneath the pyramid complex that he's standing on. So on the center of his belt, he's got the life symbol, just what we were talking about. And then right up here at the top. So this would show the equinox coming straight up and down, east and west. So the parrot serpent in his right hand has a moon symbol up on top. So this would tell me it would represent the moon's path. The serpent parrot in his left hand is divided into 2 serpent paths, and that would tell me it would represent our 2 paths in space. His headdress has 12 circles on it, and that would rep the constellations. But they're divided. Every two constellations is another serpent path that would go like this through it, back and forth. So let's try to put it all together. He has the moon's path in his right hand. There are 7 squares, and he's used 3 of them. And the Hopis believe that the Creator told him that he would try 9 times to populate the earth, once for himself, once for his nephew, and then 7 for the worlds to come. So there's the 7. We're on the 4th one. He has a little guy hanging right off his elbow, which would represent the death of the first world, death of the second world. And that's kind of just like back here at... There's the 2 guys representing death in the serpent's mouth in the Aztec sun circle. Well, they're represented again right here, first and second world. He's standing on the 3-step pyramid representing the third world. We're going into the 4th world. That's why he has 4 fingers. And he's the guardian, taking us from the third world to the 4th world. Then you have these 2 serpent heads here that designate kind of like north and south, but I think they would also represent just like right the base he's standing on, where there's a serpent going in each direction. Those were doing the same thing there. So to me, it would look just like this mural in Egypt, where you have the first, second, and third. Egyptologists say this is the backbone, but you have the life symbol, the north, south, east, and west, and the pathway of the sun between them. And you can see that they've got human hands holding up the moon. This tells me this is the 4th time the Creator has tried to populate the earth, and it's in our human hands now to correct the problem. He's counting on us to take it upon ourselves to figure out this distance between the earth and the moon. So if you draw lines between that, you get those on Viracocha's face. You see the same thing: the winter solstice, summer solstice, the equinox, and the moon cycles. So what does that have to do with Sacsayhuaman, the site down in Bolivia that no one can understand? And maybe the creator of the site left us a clue of what it all means. He carved a serpent into one of these rocks, which tells me that they should represent snakes, serpents. And this one of them looks like a serpent's head. If you look from above, I see that Viracocha's headdress would equal this symbol here. He has the serpents over here, and there's one represents the straight path of the moon. Then you got the celestial and the equatorial, and they cross paths. And this would be where his feet were. It's a little offset for some reason, but if you overlay a picture of him, you can see where his 2 feet would have been, and his left hand. He's got all the serpents on one side. So if you look way from above, if you Google it from way up above that headdress, you can see that it lines up with ancient sites, pyramid sites, half mile, a mile away. That this site was used if somebody was standing there at the day of the equinox, standing in that circle, you'd have 12 points of reference to balance the earth, just like at Stonehenge and other areas around around the world. So it's a site that was used to measure Earth's delicate balance in space. If these walls do represent snakes, I would think they would represent the ecliptic and the celestial paths, and the time when these two paths cross the Earth and enters into a new age. That's when the shift comes. When the two paths cross, that's when we enter the new age. We're going counterclockwise through this, and you can see that we entered the age of Pisces, March 20th, minus 60, and now we're going to enter the age of Aquarius, March 20th and 2100. And that's when the scientists predict that we're going to ice caps be completely melted. So the moon's path goes across, here's the ecliptic path, the 12 constellations. The moon's at a 5-degree tilt, and it goes above it and below it. When it comes up, this is the only time you have an eclipse, where you have a total eclipse. So the moon cycle is very, very fragile. It has to be at that exact point when there's a total eclipse. If the Earth shifts, we won't have a total eclipse. So, and these two paths, they're just represented because of our Earth's tilt, that 23.5 degree tilt. Native Americans have been showing this for centuries and centuries, trying to tell us the message. This little bowl was found in 1895, buried out at Owadawee. Here's a Navajo rug that shows how they use to represent a snake. Then here's an ancient pot that shows the two paths and the moon cycle. He's got the old bird, and he's got that in one hand, and he's got an arrow going down that shows his path. And then here's the moon cycle. When the two paths cross, he's got the new egg, and here's the old egg, and we're going to the third world. So when the paths cross, that's what they're trying to teach us. A guy named Jason Katodi just came out with a new article where he says these stones in all these sites represent maza, corn, So here they are, they're representing the serpent, which the Native Americans know all about and use in all their ceremonies, and corn, which would be the two things the Creator gave us. Corn doesn't grow in the wild, so these stone figures all over the earth would represent Mazda or corn. And I think he's trying to tell us that corn is very special. And then just early 2025, they're finding tunnels underneath these sites from Costco all the way to the Temple of the Sun and Sacsayhuaman. They're just discovering these tunnels. Like I told you about, that mural over the doorway shows that he's standing on tunnels or passageways under the earth. At Aribe, they use this serpent, the hieroglyph of this serpent, to show a snake. Chaco Canyon, here's your serpent mound. So they use different, native tribes use different images of the snake to go forward. So what's all this have to do with Egypt and the pyramid complex? Well, if you take this knowledge, what I told you about, that the creator created one for himself, that's the largest pyramid, then one for his nephew, that'd be the pyramid in the center, which is lined up north, south, east, and west perfectly. And then the 7 worlds to come would explain your 6 and 7 pyramids, your satellite pyramids. So if we started at the equinox, the first world, second world, third world, we're on this 4th world. We're getting ready to enter the 5th world. And right now we got 3 worlds behind us, just like Viracocha's holding that. The parrots only have 3 used portions. The crater still has 3 more to go. So my way of thinking is at the age, when we enter the new age, March 20th in 2100, that this pyramid is going to move here, that these 3 pyramids will move with it, and then one of these pyramids will come down, and there'll be 4. This will be the 4th going into the 5th. And so that's what it's got to do with the pyramid complex. And they had no problem carving in stone. Here's a replica of the 3rd world. Here's that serpent. And then here's the life symbol. So that's what it tells me. So it just happens that August is when Hopis have their snake dance, when the snake comes and they use it to balance the earth and bring rain. And so the 8th would be why there's 8 on each side of him up there on top of that doorway. And it just so happens that there's a constellation between Sagittarius, the archer, and Scorpio, the scorpion, and he's standing on the ecliptic path. All your 12 constellations are level on with the ecliptic path. Well, here's this new constellation, and I don't know how to pronounce that, Ophiuchus. But he's bringing the serpent. He's bringing the snake. And that's why it's not considered a constellation. And that's why the Hopis have their dance in August. So to me, it all comes together. So thank you very much.